Welcome to Housing Market Savvy. I'm Pat Kapowich, your friendly consumer protection agent. This is part of our series Laws That Didn't Get Much Attention. Legislation that directly impacts your rights as a home buyer, home seller, but may not have received widespread coverage. Today's episode focuses on Assembly Bill 723, a new law as of January 1st, 2026. This law addresses a significant consumer protection issue: digitally altered images in real estate advertising. Digital image manipulation in real estate advertising is not new. Years ago, I remember a serial litigant traveling Northern California filing false advertising claims against real estate agents. The issue? Agents and/or their photographers were using Photoshop to remove property eyesores such as neighborhood houses that overlook the backyard, utility poles, power lines, and other undesirable features. With today's AI technology and sophisticated editing tools accessible on any smartphone, altering property images has become easier and more common. The potential for consumer deception has increased dramatically. Assembly Bill 723 sets clear requirements for transparency in real estate advertising. Assembly Bill 723 establishes two primary requirements for digitally altered images in real estate advertising. Requirement number one: any digitally altered image must be clearly identified as altered. The law requires a clear and conspicuous label or statement indicating the image has been digitally modified. Requirement 2. The original unaltered image must be made available to consumers in the same advertisement. The law provides flexibility in how these requirements are met. For print advertising, online listings, flyers, or handouts, you can either include the original unaltered image alongside the altered version or provide a link, URL, or QR code directing consumers to a publicly accessible page containing all original images. This is the baseline legal requirement in California. My multiple listing service, also known as MLS, that is where the Realtors gather the listings to share with the local real estate community and subscribers, as well as indirectly to the public, has implemented rules that are more restrictive than the state law itself. Under MLS regulations, unaltered images must be labeled directly on the same image. Labels in the remarks section or separate statements are not acceptable. QR codes and links that direct viewers away from the MLS listings are prohibited. Additionally, original as-is images must be included within the listing's photo gallery. These images can appear anywhere in the gallery. They don't need to immediately precede or follow the altered images. The practical advantage of this system, if you properly label images for MLS compliance and use those same labeling images in your external advertising and social media, you simultaneously comply with both the MLS rules and the state law requirements. This creates an efficient, unified approach to compliance. Let me clarify exactly what type of image alterations require disclosure under Assembly Bill 723. Virtual staging requires disclosure. When furniture, decor, or other furnishings are digitally added to an empty room, the image must be labeled as virtual staging or digitally altered. Artistic renderings require disclosure. If you're displaying what new construction will look like when completed or showing potential development on vacant land, these must be labeled as artistic rendering. Adding or removing property elements requires disclosure. This includes removing clutter, eliminating utility poles, deleting neighboring structures, or adding features like pools that don't exist. Acceptable labels include altered image, digitally altered, or AI altered. The law doesn't mandate specific language, but the disclosure must be clear and conspicuous. The underlying principle is straightforward. If you modify what a buyer will actually see when they visit the property, you must disclose that modification. Understanding what does not require disclosure is equally important. Standard photographic enhancements are exempt. Color correction, brightness adjustment, cropping, and basic photo enhancements do not require disclosure labels. The law recognizes these as standard photography practices that don't misrepresent the property itself. However, there's an important distinction to understand regarding twilight photography. Altering the sky or adjusting lighting to create sunset effect images generally don't require disclosure, and you're not selling the sky, and window lighting is subjective. But here's the critical point. In the first Assembly Bill 723 enforcement case handled by the MLS, the photographer had used twilight effects and removed power lines. The power line removal triggered the disclosure requirement, not the sky enhancement. The determining factor is whether you added or removed actual property elements that a buyer could encounter during an in-person visit. Assembly Bill 723 is state law, which means violations constitute a criminal misdemeanor. However, the law includes an important protection for real estate professionals. You are only held accountable for images under your direct control. If a third-party platform like Zillow adds overlays that obscure your disclosure label, or if downstream destinations modify your images, you are not liable for those alterations. The California Association of Realtors was instrumental in ensuring this protection was included in the legislation. The Department of Real Estate has already incorporated AB 723 into their 2026 Handbook of New Real Estate Laws. However, they have not issued detailed enforcement guidance. What we do know, the MLS has already processed at least one AB 723 compliance case, demonstrating that enforcement is active and real here in Silicon Valley. That message is clear. Compliance is not optional. As a consumer protection advocate, let me explain why this law benefits all parties in real estate transactions. For home buyers, you receive honest representation of properties before investing time in viewings. This eliminates wasted trips to properties that don't match your marketing materials and allows you to make informed decisions based on accurate information. For home sellers, this is in my wheelhouse here, while disclosure requirements may seem burdensome initially, they protect you from transactions that fall apart caused by buyer disappointment. Properties that accurately represent their condition attract serious, informed homebuyers. Misrepresentation creates problems during inspections and negotiations. For real estate professionals, Assembly Bill 723 establishes clear compliance standards and reduces exposure to false advertising litigation. The law provides specific guidelines rather than leaving you vulnerable to subjective complaints. The fundamental principle here is transparency. Using virtual staging or artistic renderings to help homebuyers visualize potential is legitimate and useful. Showing what vacant land could become or how an empty room might function serves a valuable purpose. But homebuyers must know what's real and what's digitally created. That's not just good ethics, it's now California law. Honesty in advertising protects everyone involved in the transaction. To summarize, Assembly Bill 723 took effect January 1st, 2026, and requires disclosure of all digitally altered images in California real estate advertising. Original, unaltered images must be made available to consumers. If you're buying or selling property in California, this law directly affects your rights and responsibilities. If you're working with a real estate professional, they should be complying with both AB 723 and multiple listing service requirements. If this information was valuable to you, share this episode with anyone involved in California real estate transactions. Consider subscribing to Housing Market Savvy to stay informed about laws and market changes that affect your real estate decisions. I'm Realtor Pat Kapowich, SiliconValleyBroker.com, your friendly consumer protection real estate agent and advocate. Until next time, stay informed and protect your interests.